Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson in the After Effects Shapes course. Today we're going to be talking about stroke versus fill. So let me bring up my After Effects composition. So as you know, if you create a new shape, I'm just going to create a new circle. You have the options for fill and stroke up here. You can change the stroke width, you can change the fill color. You can also change the fill options from having none to a solid color, gradients, etc. So you can do all this for the stroke as well by clicking the stroke text. So none, color, gradient, radial gradient. It doesn't show up, but you have to change the different colors down here in the contents menu. So if you go under the shape, under contents, just twirl down the shape, twirl down contents, and then twirl down your shape. This one is called ellipse 1. You can rename it to whatever you want. And then under here there are some more options. You can play with the fill color, so change the color down here as well. You can change the opacity, and this is I actually like using the opacity, changing it to 0 rather than just deleting the fill, because you can just delete the fill and there's no fill, but just in case you want it later, you can always add it back too, but I always just change the opacity to 0 to get rid of the fill. That's pretty much the only thing we're going to be playing with in this lesson and most of this course in terms of the fill. But for stroke, there are a few different options that we want to look at. Okay, so obviously you have color and opacity down here and line width, but the main thing we're looking at is the line cap and dashes. So line cap, it will be easier to see what line cap is if I draw just a line. So I'm just going to draw a line and make a really thick stroke. So if I go down under this to the shape and go under stroke and change the line cap from butt cap to round cap, it creates this round edge. And this looks really nice. It might look more pleasant to the eye depending on what type of project you're working on. So just make sure you know how to change from a butt cap or just the sawed off straight edge line to the round cap. Okay, and then from here you can also add dashes. I'm going to go back to my circle shape layer. So under dashes, if you hit the plus sign, it adds a bunch of dashes at the standard size 10. You can increase the size to whatever you want, and you can also change the offset. So that's a pretty cool trick right there. You can of course animate all of these properties. If you want to go from a certain offset to another, you can have a spinning wheel of dashes. But another thing to take note of is, I'm just going to get rid of these keyframes, is if you hit the plus sign twice, so before you just hit it once, now you hit it a second time, now you get this gap option. So now you can actually change what the gap is between the dashes. So say you want a huge gap between just 3 dashes or whatever, you can do that. And then if you want really small gap, you can change the dash size down really low and then just change the gap to something really small. So something like this. You can even make it smaller. So this, can even turn into just sort of a dotted line. If we change the stroke width down to something like this, it may be hard to see for you, but let me try to bring it up, make it a little bigger. So now you just have a dotted line. And of course, if you change to round cap and then decrease the dash size and maybe increase the gap, now you just have sort of little dots, little balls. Change it to 1 pixel. So now you have a spinning or just a round ball of dashes. And then you can, animate the offset. And this thing, you can have a spinning ball. And now this, if you have this spinning ball, you can animate it with the offset. A better way would actually probably be going under the transform, whatever you want to call it. That's the name of this, and do the rotation of this. So you can change the rotation. Now make sure your anchor point's in the middle. So now we have this spinning circle, and it's just about adding these little details that make your motion graphics that much better. So instead of just having a circle on your screen with text in it or whatever you want, have a circle with some spinning dashes behind it. So that's what, in this course I want to make things practical. So let me just add this background really quickly to show you how you can use these dashes, this dash circle, to look really good. Okay, I'm going to change the color of this. I use Command-Shift-Y to change the color of this solid to something, something maybe darker so that the dashes are more pronounced. And then I'm going to add some text, and my text, where did it go? Okay, so just type in. Why isn't it typing? Maybe because the color of my text is white, so it should. Oh, because the size is really small. So I just change the size of my text up. So let's say, hey there. Just have some simple text. Just make it spaced properly. Let's change the font to something cool. Green Beans, that's a pretty cool font. Okay, so something like this. And then we can animate this. So we can animate the hey there to flop in or something. So if we make sure that the anchor point is in the middle using our move anchor point, and then if we toggle switches and modes so that we have this 3D option, change it to 3D. And then we just animate the Y rotation. So I'm going to set a keyframe, move this forward, 20 frames or so, and then move it back to 90 degrees, and then maybe add easy ease these keyframes just by hitting F9, or on your keyboard function F9 if you're using a Mac keyboard. So something like this is kind of a cool animation. And then of course we could add more shapes behind it or something. Maybe we add another shape. Wow, that is a huge stroke. I'm going to get rid of this stroke and then just change the fill to something that's more complementary to this red color. So I'm just going to select that red and then choose something pretty dark. And then under ellipse and ellipse path, I'm just going to increase the size of this a little bit. And then put it behind our hey there text. And have this circle, green circle, I'm going to rename it, have that animate in. Okay, so I can just add a simple, scale. So if I set a keyframe at 100%, and then go move that keyframe up, maybe like 15 frames or something like that, then go back and change it to 0. Now we have this circle kind of popping up. Alright, now I want to teach you another cool little advanced trick. So if you set easy ease and then you have these selected and use the graph editor, you can make this motion look really cool. So I'm going to select this option, which is fit all graphs to view, so it makes the graph editor more easily editable. And then under this, make sure you have edit value graph. Now if I take this first keyframe and use the little editor and I bring it all the way up so that it kind of curves up above 100%, what it's going to do is that the circle is going to pop up above 100%. So see that? It gets bigger, 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 and then it goes smaller. So it's actually going above 100%. and that's a pretty cool effect. I'm gonna make it smooth out, just play around with these keyframes. So something like this. I would probably go in and play with the keyframes of the hey there text as well, using the graph editor, just to add a little bit more interesting motion to it. Maybe speed it up and slow it down so it kind of snaps into place. Something like that. Or even just have it slow down really quickly. It kind of appears really quickly, but then it slows down. So something like this, I'm going to get out of the graph editor mode. This is a pretty simple animation, but it's simple to do, but it looks very professional. And of course you could add more shapes and go from there. Alright, so this lesson is getting to be 11 minutes now. I'm going to cut it off there. I hope, we just played with the stroke and the fill, but you get the idea that, you can create some pretty cool animations just playing with that stroke and fill, and then the standard position, size, scale, and rotation functions of each property of each layer and animating those. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you had a good one, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Make sure you check out videoschoolonline.com for more great tips, tricks, tutorials, free blog posts, and discounts to my online courses. All right, have a good one. Bye.